Welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English along with Andrea Jackson. Hey, have you ever heard of the phrase, get out of your own way? Well, our next guest, Christina Curtis, is a master business coach who is going to help us clean up the habits that's actually hijacking our happiness, our relationships, and even our results. Christina, thank you so much for joining us today. First, tell us, how can our habits hijack our happiness and maybe even into our relationships?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, Mitch. And this is a topic I'm exceptionally passionate about. I've worked in the human performance arena over the past 20 years, working with Fortune 500 executives and entrepreneurs and Olympic athletes. And what I've seen is that in that space between something, an event, and our reaction to it, is this huge moment where we have to expand our way in and elbow our way in so we don't just habitually respond the way we've always done previously. In fact, human beings operate 42% of the time on autopilot.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we're just repeating and repeating and repeating. And so we have to slow ourselves down to say, what is the best action? What is the best thought? What is the best energy I need to bring to this moment to get the outcome I want to get? I mean, I'll give you a really easy example. Energy is the most contagious thing we got going on.
Yes.
And we just show up. Whatever energy we're feeling or whatever emotion we're feeling, we bring it into the environment. And it may not be conducive to the relationships we want, to the results we want. We have to pause and think through, what energy should I be producing and generating so that I'm able to engage in this moment in a really highly productive way.
And it sounds like kind of like a habit of reading the room, kind of figuring out where you're at, what can you offer. That makes plenty of sense. But you say you actually have 3 tips that will actually help us interrupt those habits. And I want to start with the first one, which is respond versus react. Explain that.
Yeah, the reality is when we are busy, stressed, moving fast, we tend to just react, right? Again, we habitually put in whatever behavior or thought we've had before into any given situation instead of pausing. I mean, taking a breath and having a moment to respond. What is the right response here based on the outcome I want to drive? And I think that's incredibly important in order to get people on board with whatever idea you're sharing, whatever thoughts you're communicating, or just to connect with you in general. We just move so fast, we are reacting perpetually.
Sure.
And then getting the same results.
And it seems though, once we develop that and we're good at responding the correct way, then when we do maybe let that go and we react, we do it in a better way because of the fact that we've developed that habit,
Right.
I would imagine, right?
Yeah. And I think the second tip, which is equally important there, is to shake hands with your inner critic. And when you make a mistake, don't make it mean that there's something wrong with you, right? All too often, we go into something, we make an error, something goes wrong, and we habitually make it mean something is wrong with us. And this is a really important one because when you're playing a big enough game, you're out there building great relationships, driving great results, things are going to go wrong, Mitch. I mean, the wheels are going to fall off the bus from time to time. And when they do, when there's any kind of setback, my experience is because we have these perfectionist tendencies, we immediately mean that, oh my gosh, the wheels fell off the bus. What's wrong with me? Where did I screw up? What do I need to do differently? But what's wrong with me of the underlying energy? And I think it's important to shake hands with your inner critic and recognize when you're out there playing a big game, perfection is not the goal. It's striving for excellence, which means you're constantly learning, and every setback just makes you smarter and more informed for what's coming next.
And I can see how that tip 2 really will help with tip 1, because once you are at peace with yourself and realizing that, hey, there's some things I still need to learn, you'll respond differently. And this is all perpetual. I can understand that. Your third tip says, follow the footsteps of giants. Now, some might say that might be a little dangerous, but what context are you saying it as?
Yeah, I notice the most successful people out there aren't just the ones making a big paycheck. In fact, I have a lot of clients who make a lot of money but aren't very happy. And so I recommend figure out who the people are that you are looking to achieve that layer of success and happiness. Let's not compare ourselves to those who are achieving an outcome you don't want. And then watch their footsteps. Watch where they've walked. The most successful people I've seen are not just climbing up a mountain, but they're turning around to pull other people up by sharing what they've learned. And I think it's really important to take a moment and say, okay, gosh, how are they engaging energetically with the environment around them? What energy are they bringing in? What ideas do they have around how I should set up my week? What are they doing around goal setting? What type of goals are they doing? We often compare ourselves with others, and we use that comparison as a way that generates envy and jealousy, but But actually, it doesn't have to be a zero-sum game. We can learn from those who are excelling in our area, and that way all of us continue to evolve and get higher and higher on the growth perspective.
I agree with you. And as you were talking, I was thinking of inventors. Most inventors don't come make something that's out of the blue. They find something that's people are already using but make it better.
Right.
And that's where we can imagine following in those footsteps, the things that we can do. At least that's what I got from you there. In your book, Choosing Greatness, what is your mission that you want people to walk away from?
Yeah, well, having done this work in business psychology for the past 20 years, I will tell you, a lot of us feel like we're missing out on our potential.
Yeah.
Like we're missing out on something that's available to us. And my greatest insight, after doing this for so long with so many people, is recognizing we are habitually responding in our day-to-day in a way that just, again, keeps plugging in previous thoughts and behaviors and then expecting different outcomes. Things won't change unless we choose to change the way we are engaging every moment and slowing down to not just react the way we've always done, but saying, what do I want to drive and how do I need to show up, think, and what do I need to do differently to get there? So this book walks us through the 8 tips on how to actually achieve greatness. And I interview people like Richard Branson and Javier Rodriguez, the CEO of DaVita, and Jonathan Johnson, the CEO of Overstock, and Olympic athletes, just to say, what choices are you making to interrupt your habitual patterns so you can achieve your version of greatness, and what can we learn?
I love that. So it made it a little easier for those who want to follow in the footsteps of others. You got them in their stories in those books. I find that fascinating, very cool. And if you want to find out more information there at home, or maybe even get a copy of Christina's new book, it's called Choosing Greatness, an evidence-based approach to achieving exceptional outcomes. You can go to curtisleadership.com. We'll, of course, have this link on our website as well as the interview at dailyflashshow.com.